All right, let's dive in. Today, we're looking at something kind of fun idioms, but not just any idioms, ones that use food.
Oh, yeah, those are
I
great.
mean, everyone uses them, right?
Right.
Like spill the beans or um, butter someone up.
Right, right. Or cool as a cucumber. Those are classics.
Exactly. And they're not just for English learners either. I think even for native speakers, it's cool to take a closer look at these phrases we use all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we say them without thinking, but when you stop and think about it, they can reveal a lot about our culture.
So let's start with spill the beans. It means to give away a secret, but why beans? Where does that come from?
Well, there's this theory. It goes back to ancient Greece. Apparently, they used beans for voting.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so if you, like, knocked over the jar of the beans, you were revealing everyone's votes.
Ah, that makes sense. You'd be exposing something that was supposed to be hidden.
Exactly. And even today, spilling the beans, even accidentally, it can feel like you've broken some kind of trust.
Totally.
Yeah.
Have you ever had someone spill the beans about something you were involved in? I mean, how did it feel?
Ooh, yeah. You feel betrayed, right? Kind of vulnerable.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
why didn't they keep it to themselves? Okay, let's move on to butter someone up. That's one I definitely use, maybe a little too much.
Uh-huh. I think we all do.
It's like you're trying to sweet talk someone, right? Like he was really buttering up his boss before the meeting.
Yeah, it's all about flattery. But it makes you think, is it always manipulative?
That's a good point.
Or can it be genuine, a way of just showing appreciation?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the intention, right? Like, are you being sincere or just trying to get something?
Exactly. It brings up some interesting questions about how we persuade each other and where that line is between a compliment and, well, manipulation.
Totally. All right, from buttering people up, let's jump to being in a pickle.
Ooh, now we're getting into trouble.
Exactly. Everyone's been there stuck in some awkward situation with no easy way out. But why a pickle? What is it about being pickled that captures that feeling?
Right. It's not like you're in I don't know, a jam, which at least sounds kind of pleasant.
Yeah, a pickle, it's sour. It's something you want to get out of as fast as possible.
Yeah, totally. Do you have any other go-to phrases for when you're feeling in a pickle?
Hmm. Sometimes I'll say, up a creek without a paddle.
Ah, yeah, that works too.
Same feeling of being totally helpless. Or sometimes I just go with a straight up, I'm so screwed.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we've all been there. All right. Now that we're talking about tricky situations, how about bite off more than you can chew?
Oh, yeah. That's the classic one of taking on too much, right?
Exactly. It's like, that visual of someone trying to cram way too much food in their mouth.
Uh-huh, exactly. Like you could see it happening and you just know it's not going to end well.
And I think it goes beyond just literal food. It's about our limits, whether it's with projects at work or commitments in our personal lives.
Absolutely. I'm sure we all have those moments where we're like, oh, why did I say yes to all of this?
Right. And then you feel overwhelmed and stressed.
Speaking of stress, how do we stay cool as a cucumber when things get crazy? It's like those people who can walk into a stressful situation and they're just totally calm, collected.
Right. I mean, it makes me wonder if there's some kind of inner thermostat they have that keeps them level-headed no matter what.
Like they've mastered the art of not letting things get to them.
Exactly. I find that fascinating. What about you? What helps you stay cool as a cucumber?
For me, it's all about taking a moment to just breathe. Like deep breaths,
Yeah, mindfulness. That makes sense.
Yeah, just focusing on that for a few seconds can really help me reset. What about our listeners? Do you have any go-to tricks for staying calm under pressure?
Ooh, that's a good one to think about. And I think as we continue exploring these food idioms, we'll find even more insights into how language shapes our understanding of ourselves.
Okay, we've covered some great ones, but there are so many more food idioms out there. Like, what about have your cake and eat it too?
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. It's like wanting it all, right? The best of both worlds.
Exactly. And it never really works out that way, does it? It makes me think of that saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right, there's always a trade-off, some kind of consequence.
Speaking of consequences, how about crying over spilled milk?
Oh yeah, that one's all about dwelling on the past, letting those mistakes just eat away at you.
Like, you can't unspill the milk, right? You just got to move on.
Exactly. Focus on what you can control, not what's already happened.
It's a good reminder, although sometimes it's easier said than done. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. How about going bananas?
Ooh, yeah. That one always makes me think of someone just letting loose, going wild.
Exactly. Like, what is it about bananas that makes them so unhinged.
Uh-huh, right. Maybe it's that bright yellow color or the way they come in bunches.
I've also heard is because peeling a banana is so quick and easy.
Hmm, that's interesting. Like a sudden burst of energy.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, from bananas, let's go to a taste of your own medicine.
Ooh, now that one's not so pleasant, is it?
Not really. It's like getting what you deserve, right?
Yeah, experiencing the same bad treatment you've given others.
It's that whole karma thing, what goes around comes around.
Exactly. It makes you think twice before doing something you might regret.
Okay, before we go on to the next idiom, I want to talk about food for thought.
Yeah, that one's a bit different. It's not really about food, is it?
Not literally, no. It's more about that ideas, things that make you think.
Exactly. Like something that sparks your curiosity, makes you want to explore further.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these idioms we're talking about, they do that, don't they? They give us these little insights into how we think and talk about the world.
Absolutely. They're like these bite-sized pieces of wisdom, Little nuggets to chew on.
Okay, let's savor a few more of these tasty idioms. How about spice things up?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's about adding excitement, a bit of risk or adventure.
Exactly, like breaking out of a routine, trying something new.
Yeah, inject some energy into life. Why not?
All right, here's one that always makes me laugh, the gravy train.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a classic. It's about easy money, right? Getting something for nothing.
Exactly, like that cushy job or winning the lottery.
But it does make you think about fairness, doesn't it? Like, who gets to ride the gravy train and who doesn't?
That's a whole other conversation. But for now, let's talk about bread and butter.
Back to basics. The essentials.
Exactly. Like your main source of income, the thing that pays the bills.
Yeah, the foundation of your life, what you rely on.
Okay, one more idiom before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Chew the fat.
Ooh, I like that one. It's just about having a good chat, right?
Yeah, just shooting the breeze, relaxing, and talking about whatever comes to mind.
Exactly. No pressure, just enjoying the conversation.
It's a good reminder to slow down sometimes and just connect with people.
It's funny when you think about it, how often we use food to talk about things that have nothing to do with food.
It's true. Like, we're always talking about eating or drinking or something, even when we're talking about ideas or feelings.
Yeah, and it's not just in English either. It's like that in so many languages.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, speaking of which, how about this one? Selling like hotcakes. What do you think about that one?
That's a good one. It's all about something being really popular, right?
Yeah, like it's flying off the shelves. Everyone wants it.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder what makes something suddenly become so popular,
Right. Is it good marketing? Or is it actually a good product? Or is it just luck?
Yeah, it's probably a mix of all those things.
Okay, here's one that's a little bit more negative. Sour grapes.
Oh, yeah, that one's about wanting something you can't have.
Exactly, and then pretending you didn't want it anyway.
Right. Like, oh, those grapes are probably sour anyway.
But really, you're just trying to make yourself feel better.
Classic case of trying to protect your ego.
Totally. Okay, let's switch to something more positive. A piece of cake.
That one means something is easy, right?
Yeah, like no problem at all. You can do it with your eyes closed.
Exactly. But I wonder if it's always a good thing for things to be a piece of cake?
That's an interesting point.
Like, do we miss out on challenges and growth if everything is too easy?
Maybe. It's like that saying, no pain, no gain.
Right. Sometimes you need to push yourself a little to really learn and grow.
Well, I think this has been a pretty fascinating look at food idioms.
I agree. It's amazing how much we can learn about our culture just by looking at the way we talk.
So to our listeners, the next time you hear someone say, that test was a piece of cake, or that new phone is selling like hotcakes, take a moment to appreciate the language and the stories behind these everyday expressions.
And who knows, maybe you'll start noticing even more food idioms out there.
That's a great point. We've only just scratched the surface. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into food idioms. Until next time, happy listening.